Welcome into the pit, Toronto. And I'm Mike. That's Jason. We talk about metal. And today we're going to talk about what's metal and what's not.
That's where I actually kind of jumped in. For the last 7 days, I've been posting. We chose 7 different bands that a lot of people have considered metal. We don't consider most of it metal right off the bat, but maybe a good guideline as to the difference between metal or not. No, I can throw Motley Crue. You don't think they are. Like, we'll get into this. Don't worry.
Well, wait, okay, we'll get into it.
So the first thing we did was we started with Sabbath, the godfathers of all metal, the creators of metal, the where metal would be nothing without them. You say whatever you want. Right off the bat, I don't think they're really metal. I think they're responsible for metal. They're my heroes. And maybe once they've turned into heaven and hell, I might consider that way more metal than when the Aussie years.
And this is ludicrous to me.
And according to all the polls on all the Facebook group sites I took, that was the one band that most people agreed were metal, that agreed with you.
I mean,
there were a ton of people that didn't
metal
think
band.
People were metal.
If you're defining metal, what you're talking about is tone, like the sinister tone on the guitars. You're talking like dark content. You're talking that plotting. Well, really, they created doom metal essentially.
Doom metal is definitely the term that floated the most in the polls I took. That's what a lot of people referred to them as. But to me, they're missing is the speed, the power. They have a lot of the distorted guitars, but it wasn't refined as, I know it's weird saying refined with distorted guitars, but it wasn't refined as it gets on, especially through the 80s.
I mean, they definitely became something else throughout. Like, I would say they softened, but there is no metal if there's no Black Sabbath. So how can you call them not metal?
That's what I mean, and that's the funny part is no one's disputing that there'd be metal. Everyone agrees that metal would be very different if not for that band. But times change, and so did what metal become. Metallica's first note changed the word.
Well, yes.
Metal.
But to say so, there's
the word metal.
There's precursors to metal, those Blue Cheer and Rush and things like that are not metal. But Sabbath is the first band I think that you can call a metal band,
and they've
to me it's indisputable.
They have the label of the original or Unholy Trinity with Zeppelin and Deep Purple. Those are the 3 bands credited with the beginning of it all.
Those as well, yeah,
of course.
So. But those aren't, like Zeppelin and Deep Purple are not metal.
Which is hilarious because both of them have music just as hard as Sabbath.
Disagree.
Oh, come on. Just listen to the beginning of Immigrant Song. That thing makes me want to go crazy more than almost anything else.
Yeah, but Sabbath has the tone.
Yes, the evil. I love the evil.
How the evil is the key.
Part of the appeal, but it's not the only appeal. The music.
The key.
And see, it's funny coming from me because the key to the metal is the lyrics, and Sabbath, they started the road to the.
We differ in that.
Yeah. Okay, this I don't think we're ever going to agree on, but you can see why there would be such a. But how's this? I can point out like Motley Crue. We'll get into these other bands. Van Halen's not on our list yet. Van Halen has produced music a lot harder and heavier than a lot of Sabbath songs, and they're not metal.
A lot of Sabbath.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
Van Halen wailed on a lot of songs.
The first 5 Sabbath records are just so crushingly heavy that it's just inexplicable. And Tony Iommi wrote all the riffs, so there's no more riffs for anyone else. Everything else is a Sabbath ripoff.
Yes.
Everything is a Sabbath ripoff, period.
I got the link of what Rob Zombie said, yes.
And I totally agree.
Every song after that has been either done faster, slower, or backwards, but it's still.
But that's where it came from.
Yes. Well, I don't completely agree with that, but I can understand why he would say that. So instead of having a 2-hour discussion on Sabbath, we better cut this short. We're not coming to
an hour and a half tops.
Yeah, we're not coming to any conclusions on this. It's not happening. And it's all right that Sabbath is they're definitely in my top 3 favorite bands, and I'm still fighting you on this.
Well, your polling data suggests
I know,
The greater population is in my camp.
Okay, out of all the people that had to choose one, yes, but like I said, in a lot of these hardcore ones, the Megadeth specifically, the Manowar and the Children of Bodom is where I got a lot of people that did not think even Sabbath was metal at all, at all, at all. So,
I mean, the internet's a scary place.
it is, and none of this was a real poll. It was just trying to get the metalhead and rockers' opinions. How's this? The Godsmack group, most of them considered Sabbath metal, but they're from a rocker's opinion, not a metalhead's opinion. You like to pretend you're a punk, so you might have a slightly distorted view of what metal is.
That's a different topic. You can like punk and metal, and I do.
Period. And so do I. I love giving you a hard time.
Okay, who's next?
Okay,
so Sabbath, check, metal.
Now, Wasp, right away.
Can we get a graphic that has a check mark?
I'll put a check, but not
gavel.
Not without a serious question mark beside it. But we're going to go to the next one, Wasp. Now, before we continue, I just want to say one thing. One person in a group did mention something that actually made sense to me. She went, none of the kiddos are going to even know who this band is.
Oh, that's
adorable. I think that might have been a problem.
Kids are watching us.
Well, that's fine. So now they might know who Wasp is, and that's great.
Well, I'm going to confess, I'm not super familiar with Wasp. It's not a thing that's super on my radar.
It shouldn't be. In fact, if it wasn't for a buddy playing a couple tunes to me going, damn, that sounds an awesome riff. Who is this? And then I started just listening to their music. It was like Motley Crue, but a metal version of Motley Crue. And I think Motley Crue's got some metal in it. But Wasp is almost from beginning to end metal version of Motley Crue to me. So a lot of people, well, not bad. Gave a vote for Wasp being metal. A lot of people did, but as I said, that chick pointed out, a lot of people probably had no clue who Wasp even was. They never quite made the name for themselves.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say.
Okay, then we'll skip on to the next one. I don't
know so much about them.
That's one people have to listen and decide for themselves. They're not so much devil worshippers as they are women and partiers and boozers, and that's what they like to sing about most of the time, or at least the songs I've heard. I still don't know that much about Wasp myself, but I think I'm going to listen to a little more of them. So we got GNR. There was a surprising amount of people
big breath.
Considered them. There's no big breath. Neither of us, I don't think, really consider them to be metal.
I'm a little torn.
I understand. They have some songs, specifically songs, and Slash himself is a metal guitarist. Someone actually pointed that out in one of the polls going, I'll give Slash a medal, not Guns N' Roses. And they influenced a lot of metal at the time. And here's the thing. Another person pointed out with them, Skid Row, and a few other bands, their first album was like a glam hair album. So they were labeled that right away. So even as they got heavier.
Oh, I don't think that's the case.
Oh, come on. GNR Lies? Have you seen what they look like in the Lies album?
No, I mean, you're saying their first. You're saying. What?
Pre-Appetite. I thought Lies.
There's no such thing as Pre-Appetite.
Was Appetite their first?
Yes.
Oh, okay, then they turned.
So that's why I'm saying you think Appetite is glam.
Then it's reverse order. They turned more glam, and whoever made that comment threw me off. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and there's no before Appetite.
Okay, then they definitely went more glam.
I mean, is it the best debut record of any rock band ever? Maybe.
No. Come on.
What's a better top to bottom? No filler. I mean, I'll argue for Kill 'Em All.
Testament to Legacy.
You're saying The Legacy is a better album than Appetite for Destruction.
If I had to listen to one album front to back, it would definitely take Legacy any day over Appetite.
Okay, let's remove your biases.
Oh, come on. Stop doing that
to me. Remove Testament. Well, fine. Testament could, for you, it's the like thing that's on your pedestal. Remove Testament. Can you name any other that you would say is better?
Black Sabbath's first album comes to mind.
Okay, that's not a bad one.
Yeah,
that's not a bad one. I give you that.
Sadly,
potentially.
Oh, damn you!
It's hard to say, right? Because there's no filler on that record, and it is just savage.
And I hate Guns N' Roses, so I don't like admitting it.
And it's so good.
And by the time they came with Lies, they came out with the most racist song in all of heavy metal rock and roll to me, which is why I kind of wanted to boycott them as well. If anyone hasn't heard that song or anyone listening to this, go listen to what's that song, One in a Million? And there's never been a more racist popular song than that one. I like totally almost want to boycott them on that song alone. And I really want the world to know how racist they are. Bad
Okay.
Guns N' Roses. But this is not a conversation about that. I just like to throw it in. But so I can see
So
why.
I think I'm with you. It's not metal.
And Appetite is
I'll give
amazing
it
from
hard
beginning
rock.
to end. I know.
I'll put it in the same category as things like ACDC, but we'll get to them too.
And see, I see why you're also hesitant too, because they are much heavier than ACDC. So go figure.
Okay, so we'll agree with not.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll begrudgingly stop on Mr. Rose's crew
so
there,
good, though.
and we'll move on to Skid Row, which their first album I liked a lot, but was not metal at all. Like maybe
okay, so here's the
question.
Here's the question: does a band that has one particular album that's heavier count? Slave to the Grind, does it count? Does it count as calling them metal? That's the question.
See, here's the thing, and it's not even that whole album, although actually there's many songs on their album, but Slave to the Grind and Monkey Business are heavy metal. The rest of the album even.
So when we talk hair metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it, I accept that it's metal.
And see,
it's not a form of metal I like, but I accept that it's metal. So I'm willing to say Skid Row's metal.
If you consider glam metal a category and not really actually
I'm
glam
saying
rock.
yes.
Because if glam metal is real, then so should Poison, Motley Crue, and Van Halen.
Well, we'll get there.
But okay, we'll get there. But then
I don't think Van Halen's metal.
No, I want see hair rock or glam rock, and
glam rock too. Like is Kiss in that category?
Yeah, they would be.
Are they as glam metal or glam rock?
And that's the point. Is there really?
I'd say it's on the rock.
I don't think there should be a glam metal. There just shouldn't be. Or someone asked me. Someone did ask me when they knew we were doing the video to mention they call it pink metal. So you got your Twisted Sister, your Motley Crue, your.
Twisted Sister is awesome. Just putting that out.
And they probably would not be offended by being called pink metal.
Of all the hair bands, Twisted Sisters is the top for me.
Well, come on. I was even a little kid, awesome. And when I heard their videos, I didn't care what kind of music it was. This is great.
So that's, I guess, the question. Do you accept hair metal as a type of metal, or is it more glam rock, hair rock?
Yeah. And I think that will be the main.
I definitely don't consider things like Kiss to be metal, and also Kiss sucks.
And then I think you're gonna have to clump all those bands into one as a knot. Then, so we can go right into Motley Crue now, because why switch topics? We're on the exact same thing. So we'll put Motley Crue with their Skid Row, throw in your Van Halen, your Twisted Sister, your Poison, Def Leppard, and even all those horrible bands that start with White Snake, White
Lion, White Tiger,
White Tiger.
Whatever. I don't know.
White Zombie. No, I won't go there.
That you'll get some hate mail about.
No. But okay, so how's this? I'm willing to agree they are more glam rock. The reason I always thought Motley Crue had the metal tendencies was always because of specific songs. Shout at the Devil, Kickstart My Heart, Louder Than
Kickstart My Heart for sure. But and I'll acquiesce. I would say they are metal.
If we went and picked out a bunch of songs and ignored the rest of them.
If I had a gun to my head, yeah, that's how I would say it.
But their first album they classify as a punk album, so go figure.
Which I don't take anyone in Motley Crue says seriously.
Well, considering the amount of drugs they take, it would be like taking Ozzy Osbourne seriously. I love him as one of my favorite singers.
You have to be able to understand.
I can't take him seriously.
To start with, yeah, I'm obviously not a fan of Motley Crue. I think there's a couple listenable songs, but other than that, I just don't like them.
I understand. It's hilarious, as they're definitely in one of my top 5 bands of all times of any genre.
And you know what bugs me about them?
A lot, I hope.
Well, a lot, but more so than the music is the fact that they think they're a top tier like band on
I
the
will give a
level of Sabbath and Metallica and
see,
Slayer.
and do you
They
know
think
why?
they're
Because
on that
their
level.
shows, I think, surpass those other bands. Just their live shows, not their studio albums, the productions they put into their shows. I don't even like Kiss, and Kiss is the top of that category. I like a handful of Kiss songs. Generally, everything that comes out of their mouths, whether talked, spoken, or played on their instruments, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
like.
they're Kiss or hacks. I am willing
So,
to put that out there.
yeah, but as far as
Garbage.
performances, though, their egos are so crazy because they put on the craziest, biggest shows, which still goes back to your
I
pink
mean, it's
metal.
other than the drum kit flipping upside down, what is unique about a Motley Crue show? I've never seen them
Oh,
live, and
how's
I
this?
hopefully never
Okay. Oh,
will.
I'll give it a really, really, really quickly. The drum kit
Go
doesn't
for it.
just go upside down. Sometimes it goes up in the air and flies across the audience so the people in the top rows can watch the drum solo. Sometimes there's drums like 5 different kits up in the air, and Tommy Lee likes to jump from one to another. One of them he fell off and landed on a building. That must have sucked. They had to cancel that concert. I've watched a 50 to 100 foot flame come out of Nikki Sixx's bass. I've watched like everything about it. And here, how's this? I think I mentioned this before in their interview. People have given Motley Crue crap. Why do you always have half naked ladies on stage? Because who wants to look at us for 2 hours straight?
And remember,
See?
we can't quote you on any of your quotes.
Yes, but that one actually you almost could. That one stuck
You
in my mind.
almost. Okay, so it's the theatrics.
Yeah. So how's this? We can agree. Let's say we have trouble defining glam metal, glam rock. How about just the pink metal? Whatever. I wish I knew the guy that gave me that phrase, but that's perfect.
I mean, I don't know that it's perfect. We
Well,
already
it's
have
better than
glam and
anything.
hair. You're just adding another term. But
Pink metal.
okay, so I'm willing to say Motley Crue is metal. I'm willing to say that.
And if they are, then we'll have to go with Skid Row and those bands as
And
well.
I'm willing to accept it. Whether like the line of yeah, I guess for me the problem is saying it's good versus it's metal. I can say it's metal, but not good. Because I don't think there's any redeemable Poison songs.
Wow. Okay. Truthfully, I made fun of Poison. I had a chick that gave me her metal collection once, and I gave someone else all the Poison, which was the entire Poison collection, to someone else and kept the rest for myself. It was a good day for me and good day for that person who had the band. But I saw them in concert because they opened for another band I really wanted to see. And it was an incredible rock concert. Another band that did a bunch of covers and just had the audience going and had a great old time. I did not feel like sacrificing things to Satan, but
I mean, then is it really metal?
that's why I said, but no, they put on a great rock concert. And that's what I give them. They
Okay.
put on a great rock concert. Their music is fun. And how's this? This is it. When I went to all those metal concerts growing up, it was Sausage Fest, Sausage Fest, Sausage Fest. You know what I realized? I liked women. I'm not Judas Priest. So I needed to find bands of the genres I liked that girls liked. And my options were pretty limited. Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, Scorpions. These were the bands that I was able to get girls into my genre with. I know it's horrible, but it started as a strategy, and then I started singing along.
I guess we're going to tackle this on a future episode of Girls in Metal.
Girls in Metal. So then we'll move on to Scorpions, the one that most girls I met that like rock anyways, that was their band that got them into all the harder stuff.
Yeah, definitely like a gateway type band. But I would say again, it's hard rock.
No, the reason I put Scorpions here is I got into the metal in the early 90s, so I was given a bunch of music to listen to. Ozzy, No More Tears, Enter Sandman album, Use Your Illusion 1 or 2 came out around that time. But all of these for someone who was into hip hop and dance, and that's what I was into. These were starting to get heavier and heavier. Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction came out those years. So and Scorpion's Crazy World album was really hard, especially compared to a lot of their other stuff.
And I'm not a big Scorpions guy either, so
if you'd gotten into them with the way I did, you might have been, because I wouldn't have been either. I didn't even, other than Rock You Like a Hurricane, I knew nothing. And then all of a sudden my cousin gave me the Crazy World album. I'm like, wow, this is really hard and heavy. So perception definitely has something to do with it.
I think they occupy that middle space between, but probably in the rock side.
Oh, of course. My favorite part was my ex-boss. He always made fun of my metal, and he's like, I want you to listen to a band that comes to Portugal every once in a while. And he put on the Scorpions, except it was acoustic, it was slowed down. And I'm like, this is what they sound like? He's like, yeah, I watched them live. This is from their concert. I'm like, okay, now I need you to listen to what they really sound like. And then I put on, just one of their typical songs. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're heavy metal. And that stuck with me forever. I was like, and that was why they were in here. And he's like, oh my God, they're heavy metal.
Well,
All perception. That's why I keep
yeah.
bringing up the Godsmack group of also the metal groups that I pulled, because the Godsmack group is the group of the rock group. All the other ones were mostly, really, some of them were die-hard, crazy, death and black or nothing else metal. Which sadly, after all this stuff, I'm starting to get into a lot more death metal.
Not sad. I've been doing it myself over the last couple of years.
I guess you eventually got to come around. Okay,
I mean,
so we have
you
one
run
last...
out of stuff that's just like I want something else.
I know, and that's what I said. I'm actually kind of glad we're doing all this because I get to listen to all this music. So,
Right.
this is the last band on the list because we both agree Scorpions isn't really metal, but I just want to give an example of why some people think they are. And ACDC, obviously not metal. So, someone in one of the polls again pointed out a good thing. On Much Music or one of those stations, they came up with this big thing on heavy metal bands, and their big centerpiece was ACDC. This was about 81, 82, 83. They said really early 80s, so I can't remember what. And that was one of the things they remember. There's a big conversation on ACDC.
Was Much Music even around then?
Well, I think he said VH1. I don't know. I wasn't around back then, so how am I supposed to know? I was playing my Atari 2600 at that point, so what do I know about this stuff?
I mean, I wasn't even around at all.
Yeah, ACDC. Oh, one of the first albums I ever owned was ACDC Who Made Who, though. So I'm really proud of myself. Even before my rap days, I had that one.
Not bad. My first cassette I ever bought was the Razor's Edge.
Wow, nice.
First one.
I actually bought that one too. I was more into
ACDC
people's things than recording them, of course.
Yeah, they're my second favorite band. Like, period. Like, there's little better that you can find, but again, it's hard rock.
No, of course it is.
It's the thing that gets you to where you want something heavier, but like that rhythm, that just Malcolm Young.
But here comes
rhythm guitar just goes.
Why some people thought they were metal, and what my whole point to all this is, it's the time period back in the 70s. That was as hard as it was getting. In the early 80s, when things started getting harder, genres changes. By the 90s, they really started to break into specific genres. Like Venom making the song black metal created an entire genre with one song.
Yeah, and I think people were just looking for something heavier, and that's when, the new wave of British heavy metal turns into thrash, and then it just gets heavier from there.
Well, not even necessarily heavier. Some of the genres like symphonic metal and ba 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 don't necessarily mean heavier, but different.
That's true.
And this is where those bands start getting thrown into, all of them start getting thrown into the rock and classic rock. And I'm sure in about another 10 years, everything we're saying is going to change again. And these things that we're saying are borderline rock metal are probably going to be completely abolished from the metal scene. I hope not, and there's a chance it's not, but just by the way it's going and how everyone's being so specific now. Although, to be fair, our children's children, how much harder music can they really listen to than what we're listening now without it being just pure noise?
I mean, that's for me, it's like the limit of the sound. So now you have to, like, it has to be a heavy riff, not just the wall of noise.
Well, yeah,
because I'm not interested in, like, I don't like blast beats. I don't like that noise.
You kind of want an actual song behind it still.
Yeah, I need a rhythm. I need to tap my toe.
I agree.
Groove.
It all started with Deicide. I blame them for everything. They took it up way too far, too many notches, way too soon.
I mean, those early death metal bands, everything is like everything new is rebelling against something, right? So let's just be noisier and louder and more evil than the next thing.
Yeah, and luckily there's still bands out there that are trying to be more talented. Like come the 2000s, we got like things like Sabaton and Children of Bodom and things that were hard and heavy, but they still stuck to actual music, which you always hope for.
I mean, I'm not gonna say Sabaton is heavy, but
But you can't say
they're
they're
a
not
version
metal.
of metal. Yeah, but it's very symphonic, kind of. It's very high.
And that's my point.
It's fun.
They chose to take that road
Yeah.
as a route as opposed to taking the let's just see if we can get harder and heavier. And then I chose the other one, Bodom, because they are death metal, but they didn't go harder, heavier than Dia's side. They stayed the same level of heaviness, but actually just made it a lot more melodic.
So you're considering Children of Bodom death metal. Okay. Interesting.
Symphonic death metal for sure.
I don't know where I would put them. That's a good question.
I don't know. I just assume that's what
I probably have
they
to
were.
listen to more.
I never questioned it. Now I'm gonna have to go think about that one too. I just assumed that's what they were. That's what they sounded like to me. Sound like death metal, very symbolic.
I
They were
mean,
the
you've
master
listened to more
scale
than I have.
riders. I've never listened to a band that's mastered the scales better than them. Like riding the scales up and down during all their songs, not all their songs, but a lot of their songs, they mastered to it being the proper way to ride a scale. If nothing else, that's the one thing I'll give them the award for. The best scale riders I've ever heard. Doesn't mean the best music writers or anything like that, just the best scale riders.
That's fair.
Now we're going
piano
completely
throws
off
me
topic
off.
here. So let's conclude this all with like I said, my opinion is it's a matter of time and when the music was written, whether they should be considered metal or not. And the more we get older, the less metal they become.
I don't think it's so much time. For me, it's tone and just like an evilness factor.
Evilness factor.
Like,
yet I listen to all these bands that sing about good things. Yes, they still want to crush and kill everyone. Hell, that band that you're wearing, most of their songs aren't evil. Most of it's about
not
fighting
evil, no. That's true.
And that's
There
what
is
I
a lot
love
of
about
that.
most of my favorite bands are all about fighting evil.
But for me, where the difference between most of these bands and Sabbath comes is there's a hokiness to a lot of these bands.
Oh yes. You
Like-
can't fight evil
Like
without being hokey.
Scorpions and like there's this hokiness
Oh come on.
that
One of my
to
favorite
me
bands is
doesn't
Hammerfall.
hold up
Can you
over
get cheesier?
time. Probably not.
Come on, even
But to me,
Megadeth.
just Sabbath is just so also cutting edge at the time, and just no one's doing that. No one sounded anything like what they were doing,
You're preaching to the choir, but that doesn't
and
make
that's
them
what makes it new, a new genre to me.
back
That you
in the
take the things
70s.
that come before.
50 years have passed since then.
The time is irrelevant because
The
those
time
records
is
are so
irrelevant.
fresh. The first 5 Sabbath records, and then even into the Dio era, they're just so.
Well, see, that's when I picked them back
Something
up was
about
the
them.
Dio era because they sounded more like metal to me.
I don't know. It feels like they're like they take on a lot of Dio's sort of fantasy,
Well, and that's so funny
and,
that
and the tone kind of comes up.
how your problem
for
with the
me.
hokiness is Sabbath is pure hoke, pure cheese. It's all about fantasy and weird religious
Fantasy, yes,
topics.
but there's this sinisterness to it.
Of course,
Like that like NIB for me is like it's so great.
it's a love
it's
song
just
about
so
Satan.
evil.
Can you get any cheesier though?
Well, I don't know that that's what it is, but
NIB.
the sound. So I'm not saying the content.
Oh, say yeah, you
But
got to
just
really look up the words. It's
the
Satan's in
sonic-
love with a human woman, and
So
he's trying to get this.
You're
human
you're about lyrics. I'm not.
woman.
I'm about guitars. And the Sabbath tone for me is all that it needs.
The Sabbath tone changed music in the metal world forever. Once again, no one's
Because it
disputing
created
the
metal.
importance of Sabbath. What people are disputing is whether they're any longer metal. They were.
I don't know how. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how that changes. I don't know how you can be metal and then not be metal.
Time. That's all it is.
That doesn't make any sense.
But how's this? It all comes down to, but you agreed that with these pink metal bands. That's why I started arguing this. The only reason I ever argue with you is whether Sabbath is not, because if Motley Crue is not metal, neither is Sabbath. If Motley Crue is metal, then so is Sabbath.
I disagree on your premise.
I'm going by the hardness, the heaviness. I'm not going by lyrics for a change. Motley Crue has much heavier songs than a lot of Sabbath songs.
Oh, that's a hill you're gonna die on.
That's
because
you're gonna die on.
Take that to your groups on Facebook and see how people react.
No, I already get enough.
I will lead the mob of torches and pitchforks to your house for saying that.
Well, the only thing I can guarantee is I don't die easy. Motley Crue has taught me well.
The mob will have its say, because
the mob
I don't know how you can say any Motley Crue is heavier than any Sabbath.
Well, after all this, I'm going to go write down the dozen.
We need to start polling the masses.
I'm not going to poll. I'm just going to send you my 12 Motley Crue songs and the 50 Black Sabbath songs that are all less heavy than the 12 I'm going to send you. I don't need to poll anything. Just have to listen. Use your ears. That's what.
And I will acquiesce that Sabbath changed their sound as time went.
Well, of course,
like any band, they evolved.
I'm glad they did.
And I'm mostly looking at the first 5 Sabbath records. If you got anything heavier than that,
I'm trying to remember the 5th one. I know the first 4 inside out, and I'm having trouble even remembering the 5th one. I know I didn't like a lot of their 5th one.
Isn't it Master of Reality?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm thinking that I only kind of liked half that album.
I mean, they have some of the slow stuff. It's quite slow, but it just plods along and gives you everything. It just
plods along. Yeah, I don't need my metal to plod anything. I need it to ram right through walls.
And I mean, you're not a doom guy or a stoner metal guy, which
doesn't even make sense.
It slows it down.
And I don't want to listen to that shit.
I mean, of the two of us, I like stoner metal, and I'm not a stoner, and you don't, and you are. So the label is weak.
Trying to go to the gym and work out. What are you, nuts?
Well, I think we've solved nothing.
Yep, we've solved.
So that's good.
But at least but the one good thing is it does give a reason why that this is even a topic. We're not the only ones who can sit here and have these differences of opinion. Just these polls alone tell me how many people agreed and disagreed. I didn't get any one answer from any of them. I feel more conflicted after doing all my polls than before. So this isn't a topic that's going away.
It's a wide genre. Whereas like something like that's obviously pop music, it's pop music. It's what it is. Or something that is the blues is a little more defined.
Well, then again, I get in trouble too. I think Amon Amarth's Guardians of Asgard is a pop song, and people get really mad at me.
I mean, metal bands write pop songs from time to time. They do it. But are you still a metal band? Yes.
Oh, yeah. And that song even particularly I love.
Can have popish tendencies. It's fine.
I just like bringing that one up because all the death metal heads get really mad at me when I say that.
Well, leave your hate in the comments.
And my door locked.
Here's why you're wrong, and then start typing.
I've been wrong to you.
We like arguing. We clearly like arguing. So there you have it.
Good to go. So I guess
some things are metal and some things aren't.
Let you make your own decisions because, obviously we're not any help.
Yep. Thanks for wasting some time by hanging out with us. So
excellent.
That'll be it for now.
Okay, man. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
All right.